We
All
talking about?
right. Yeah, hello.
Oh,
Welcome.
all
Just started it up. Welcome to the Two
right.
Dudes Different States podcast, episode 3. We're back. We
Woohoo!
did it a week later.
A week later, we're
Uh-huh.
back on a schedule.
And now with video, because I figured out how to do it. It was a
We're
really
we're
dumb setting.
advancing.
We're advancing. Sooner or later, we'll get cameras.
And good
Probably later.
mics.
Yeah. It's a process. It's a process. It's an investment, really. Um,
Well, I don't know about you, but I'm rolling in this unemployment I'm receiving.
No, I still work, sadly. I work from home, and I love working from home because it's much nicer. I can still do whatever I want throughout the day.
You don't have to deal with other people's stuff too.
Yeah, and I take a lot of transportation, public transportation,
Hmm.
which just in general is gross. Um, and then with this whole pandemic thing, it's just been like amplified. I'm like, even when they say it's okay to go back, I'm still gonna like be like, I don't know. I don't know how comfortable I am going back
Is
just
it
yet.
possible just from I'm gonna stay here.
I
I'm
mean,
gonna, I'm
like,
gonna, I'm gonna right here.
there's an entire department of every company that's supposed to defend their employees. It's the human resources department, and all I gotta do is go to them, go, I'm not comfortable coming back yet, and they go, yeah, okay, you get to do that. Um, so that's my plan. I don't know. I don't know about you, but
Oh
uh,
well, construction and renovation, you kind of can't really work from home doing that, so
hmm
kind of didn't get lucky with that one. But no, I think I should be going back to work here and tomorrow. I think just gotta wait for my
that's good.
boss
Yeah.
to inform me about that.
hmm Ooh,
So
sorry.
there's Michigan
It's a
it's a
mess.
it's a mess, and
hmm
we just got extended for another 2.5, 3 weeks
hmm
till June 12th, which is bogus because
Yeah.
Ohio has already opened up. But
Yeah, it's kind of like a lack of a better term, pissing contest.
hmm
Um, where it seems like states are just kind of like deciding whether or not, oh, we can stay closed longer than you can and still be okay. But it's like nobody's okay right now. So, like,
the the
some
thing
people
is,
are
I
okay, but a lot of people are not.
the thing is, I what I don't understand is that she keeps extending the stay at home, but at the same time,
hmm
when it's gonna stop? It's not like the virus just disappears.
hmm
It's
Yeah. Well,
what's the plan?
back when all this started, I think in mid to late March-ish, when states started closing down. Um, I think it was pretty radical at the time, but Virginia just the governor was like, "Oh, where I live, Virginia," it was just like, "Yeah, you're staying home till June 10th," and it was like, "Whoa, like that's pretty significant." Like a lot of states were only closing for 2 weeks or at most a month, and ours was like, yeah, like almost 3 months, just right off the
Jesus.
back. And it turns out pretty much everybody's closing in on that date now. So odds are we probably get extended through July. I think my wife, her company said that likely they won't even go back till July regardless. If June 10th is when they open up, and then there's all these phases and it's different states. It's so confusing, and there's
It's a bunch of
there's probably an easy way to find
hopefuls.
out what's happening, but I don't think people are broadcasting where to find that information.
No, no, they're just broadcasting the deaths, the cases, and
Yeah.
just a bunch of other BS that's going on,
Mhm.
in my opinion.
Right.
But just hoping
Yeah.
it's over soon. Trying to take a trip at the end of the month,
Mhm.
start of June, to Ohio
Mm.
for the weekend. So
Yeah. That'd be nice. Yeah. My wife and I are trying to plan some kind of vacation
oh, that's
for
tough, huh?
for we were like 4th of July. I'm not a big like vacation on 4th of July kind of person because I feel like you're just
Hmm.
asking to pay more for everything and be more crowded wherever you're going, especially like a beach because it's the summer. Um, so that's just my take on it. So we kind of were planning for sometime in August. We were going to go somewhere, and we're like
What were you
maybe
thinking?
we're thinking Rhode Island. Um,
Ooh, that's it's a very nice place. I've been there.
oh yeah, I haven't been there, but yeah, my wife kind of grew up there a bit. But
Mhm.
she's lived in a couple different places. But yeah, she really wants to show me that area, and um, I think it'll be fun. Yeah, I don't see any reason not to, and
Mhm.
figuring it out, and it's
Well,
just waiting on making sure everything kind of comes back to normal. I don't know, goes to
I
normal,
know.
whatever
Yeah.
whatever new normal will be.
I don't think anything will be really normal ever
Mhm.
again. Like I don't know if you saw, but like where we went to school, Bowling Green, they lifted the restrictions at bars and stuff.
Hmm.
I don't know if you've
I
seen
didn't
any
know
of
that.
that. They it's like you have to like make reservations at certain bars, and you can't stand, you can't use any of the pool games, you can't play any of the darts,
Mm.
you can't do any of that. It's more of just staying.
Standing and drinking.
Yeah, you're sitting the entire time. You can't go see someone that you know from across the bar. You have to stay in your knit group, and
Mhm. Yeah, it's weird.
I just think it's this is gonna be like the new normal,
Yeah, I mean, it
and it
does.
sucks.
It is like a weird thing to look back at after this point and be like, whoa, like when we were in college, like we would get crammed into like bars and
Oh
dance
yeah,
floors, and it's like, oh my
you couldn't
God, like
even move.
we were. That's disgusting. Like we were just rubbing sweat on each other, and that's that was normal.
Mm,
And now it's
you
like, oh
fought
my
your
God,
way through that bar.
I
You
don't know if
fought
even
your way.
I don't even know if in 10 years we'd see that again.
I don't know until they come
In
out with
many
a
places.
vaccine. I mean, until they come out with a vaccine, like
Yeah, and who knows when that'll
nothing
be.
is gonna be normal. It's all just gonna be there's a limited amount of people here.
Mhm.
You can't be this close to someone, and hopefully, the whole mass situation is. I don't know if that's gonna ever stop. Like you're just gonna see it's gonna be more like China. You're
Mhm.
gonna see more and more people just wearing masks every day, even though I think they don't wear the masks like to
Yeah.
stop disease. They just stop like the cameras from seeing their face.
You know what's funny about the mask is that I got judged at a grocery store for not wearing a mask.
Really?
Yeah.
Did you get confronted?
No, I didn't really get directly confronted. So I was at a local store, Giant. I think we talked about Giant last time. um, and it's just like a normal grocery store. And so I was just getting some items, going to the checkout line because I had too many for like self checkout, and I wasn't wearing a mask. And I was like, whatever. Like I don't need mask and gloves. Like I'm not gonna touch anybody, um, or breathe on anybody. I don't know.
Yeah,
Maybe I
that's
was
all
being arrogant
that's
or
all you need to
ignorant.
do. Just don't breathe, cough, or sneeze or whatever on
Yeah,
people.
or
Basically, stuff that you learned
I
when you
guess
were
it's more
five.
about things than people, but still, like. But anyways, I was checking out and I was just about to finish putting the bags in my cart to leave, and I overhear the person in the next aisle talking to their cashier about how ridiculous it is people aren't wearing masks, and like both of them occasionally would look over at me. I was like, "Oh, I get it. Like you're judging me for not wearing a mask? Like I know
You're
you you're
subtweeting me
trying to
on
be
it.
safe, but like you're wearing a mask. You're wearing gloves. You're going to be safe." Like I don't know. They're just it was just like, "Really?" Like I feel like in February, January, if I was wearing masks and gloves, you would have called me a like radical or like it would have been
A
such a
radical or an
different,
idiot.
yeah, like it was just such this moment of like, okay, like you're being very judgmental for no reason right now, at least in
Hmm.
my opinion. People may
I
differ with
know
that opinion.
the masks. I understand to the point where people with underlying conditions
Mhm.
need to make sure they're not contracting anything. I know it's because with my dad, he's very susceptible to disease
Right.
with like all the stuff that he has going on with him.
Mhm.
So it's a little bit understanding there, but at the same time, if you're a healthy individual, it your chances of contracting it are pretty slim unless you're licking your hands after touching stuff that you shouldn't be touching, or all that type of jazz.
Right. Oh, yeah. So, guess we probably should start talking about the video we're watching.
Ah,
Have you been
yes.
watching it? Have you been watching while you're talking?
I've been getting glimpses of it.
Okay.
I just want to say this looks beautiful.
Yeah, and I'm sure
And
the
I
stream
also
that you're
have a
seeing is
quick
not.
question for you, since
Okay.
you've seen this before.
Right.
Is this like Sekiro?
Mm-mm.
No, it's completely
So
different.
the only similarity is that it's Japan and like you're using a
Samurais and all
samurai
that type
and
of stuff.
whatnot. Yeah. And I didn't play Sekiro, so I don't know. I mean, I understand the style of what it is, but it's not like that. Yeah, a lot of people have been saying it's more like Assassin's Creed or Batman or even Infamous, which is made by the same studio, Sucker Punch.
Hmm.
Um, and yeah.
It looks great. Like
Hmm.
not, I mean, just from the stuff I've seen, I'm getting a very Assassin's Creed vibe from it.
Yeah, and I think that's what part of what we're seeing right now, which is the ghost gameplay, where he's trying to be more stealthy, and um, we're not. There's been a lot of like debate over exactly how it's gonna work, whether or not you get to choose whether or not you're gonna be more stealthy, or like this is like the latter half of the game where like you're the dishonorable ghost, or maybe it's just from the beginning you choose exactly like um, what type of gameplay you want to go off, because the other mode is samurai, which we saw a couple minutes ago before this, and you just like walk straight up into the camp and challenge everybody to fight you, and you're kind of put the whole
The run and
place,
gun type of thing, which
which
like
is like just charge right in kind of a style, which I'm like I kind of want to do that more than this, because like no offense to other games, but every game is kind of a stealth game in some way, like Assassin's Creed obviously very stealthy. um, Batman is like kind of like pushes you in a position of trying to be more stealthy, and God, I can't,
the
whatever. What
basic,
other
yeah.
open worldy kind of games that are like trying to, even Spider-Man PS4 was trying to be more stealthy. I think God of War there was absolutely no way to be stealthy in that game, so that one doesn't. Like, obviously, you have to charge right in for most of that.
Hmm.
But I don't know. Yeah, I just hope it's not like another just open world. Like there's so many like little things to do, and I've been thinking a lot about lately, like kind of like the time I put into video games. So it's hopefully it's something that like I can just either only play for that whole month or what. I don't know. Just worried. I get worried about open world games. They're very you got to
I,
dedicate a lot of time to them.
I enjoy open world games. It's
Hmm.
it's it's a it's a fun thing to do. Like when we played Dying Light
Right.
few months ago,
Hmm.
it was fun playing that. Not a game I could play by myself, but
Hmm.
it was a fun game. But then the thing that really turns me off is when like open world games turn into more of a PvP game
Oh yeah.
than it should be.
Hmm.
And I've seen a lot of debate in this category, especially when it comes to Destiny.
Ugh.
And people are saying Destiny was founded to be just to be a PvE game.
Uh-huh, which I
It
like.
was it was it's just it was supposed to be you find stuff and you play with friends, but you don't play against other people,
Hmm.
which sounded fun. Like it sounds like a good idea for like a concept of the game.
Yeah.
But towards the latter half of the end of Destiny 1, and now that we're in whatever season of Destiny 2, it seems like they're just transitioning all their resources into the PvP aspect of the game, like locking
Hmm.
guns behind PvP, everything else behind PvP, and it's
Well, that might
to
have.
me I find it quite annoying.
Yeah, and that's a big part of the reason I stopped playing that game overall, was just because I couldn't handle having to keep up with all the updates and the DLCs and stuff, and it just became kind of a nuisance. I'm like, oh, there's other stuff I want to play, and I'm like, I don't want to have to keep coming back to this one game. It's just not appealing to me. And I think we've talked before about like the amount of streamers that we follow who like still to this day play Destiny 2 every single day, and I'm just like, how do you do this? How do you keep doing this to yourself? And it's funny because I do have friends who are like super dedicated to a single game. And like I have one friend, you know him from college, Will.
Hmm.
He's put almost 1,000 hours into Rocket League. And like
Jeez.
every day I see him on Steam playing it. And he's like I just really enjoy it, and I want to keep getting better at it. I'm like that's good to know, but like, and there's obviously pro leagues and stuff like that, and he has friends who play it, and he wants to do tournaments and things like that, so he wants to get better at that game. Destiny 2, like, that's not a thing. Like, I don't think there are tournaments. I don't like,
There isn't a pro league for Destiny.
yeah, and
Like
good
that's
because I that'd be impossible to set up. Like the having supers and abilities and three different types of classes and like weapons that are way too powerful and exotic guns, and it's just all so much. And I think there's a point where they could have just made PvP like a really simple concept, where maybe like they just like, I don't know, simplify, like getting rid of supers or getting rid of exotics. Like you just can't use those in that game mode. And they were like, no, you can use everything, and then it just became this kind of mess of like people just seem way too overpowered, and one class seems more overpowered than another, and like 50% of people only play hunter, and it's like this crazy this craziness. And
Well, now with this new season that's coming out in 20 days, I don't even know. I haven't played the game in like a month.
mhm
Like this new season that they're coming out with, they're introducing this solar or not solar, this like sunset type of thing when it comes to guns,
uh-huh
and it means like you're there's a limited time you can use a gun. Like I
mhm
think it's a year or something like that, so or like a season or something like that. Like
mhm
once that season's over with,
mhm
you can't use that gun anymore or
I mean,
something
does it
like
go
that.
away, or does
Like
it lock up or something?
it's like the power level's capped on it,
Oh,
and it's like you can't like it's gonna be worse than the guns that are gonna be coming up in the next season.
yeah. And I don't know if they'll make a Destiny 3 or if they'll just keep trying to modify Destiny 2, but I think at
I
some
think they're
point.
done with that. I don't. I think ever since they split from Activision,
Mhm.
they
Yeah, 'cause
they
they only made Destiny 2
wanted to put
because of
all
that,
their
right?
chickens in one basket,
Mhm.
all their eggs rather in one
Yeah.
basket. So
I mean, that'll
they're
be
gonna.
interesting with the new console generation coming out, because then it's like, do you, do you port over Destiny 2? And how do you up? I don't know. How do you do that? How do you handle doing that and making sure people's accounts don't get messed up? And I guess they've had practice with it being on PC now. Uh,
Which it's fun to play on PC. Don't get me wrong, but
mhm.
it's I I I think the shelf life on Destiny 2 is going to be coming to an end soon.
Mhm. Yeah, it's unfortunate. I like this little game mode we're seeing right now in the thing where it's like this black and white, but you also see like the film grain. I don't know if you can
Hmm.
see that. Um,
Yep.
which I don't know. Have you seen samurai movies before?
Yes.
Yeah. What do you like know any off the top of your head that you've seen?
No. But I've
Okay.
seen them.
The only one I've seen, especially recently, is The Last Samurai with
Oh
Tom
yeah, with
Cruise,
Tom
which I
Cruise.
guess is kind of like the the lamest, not the lamest samurai movie, but like the easiest to access to. You know, it's not
Hmm.
like actually made in Japan or anything like that. It's a very Hollywood movie.
Got Japanese actors and actresses.
Oh, absolutely, yeah. And they speak Japanese even in it. Um, but yeah, that was a great movie, and I recently have been trying to find more, and I think Netflix and Hulu. I don't know if it's based on like region that I'm in, but I don't think they really have many available. So I've been trying to look through Amazon, see if anything's on Prime or
I'm sure.
something.
I'm sure if I asked my dad, he was a huge old movie enthusiast. He could rattle off a few. And my late grandpa, who just passed away last week, I'm
Yeah.
sure like he would have had all the knowledge in regards to that type of stuff. You know,
Mhm.
he's a huge uh enthusiast of like he was a huge enthusiast of like Chinese and that type of culture,
Yeah.
considering he fought in Vietnam and you know,
Mhm.
but even going through some of the stuff that he had at his house, it was interesting to
Mhm.
see all like the memorabilia that he had. And my other uncle from that passed away a few years ago, he left a bunch of old stuff that he had from Vietnam to my dad, like a bunch of knives and uh,
Oh.
guns
Yeah.
and some Japanese uh, just whatever they're called that my dad now has.
Mhm. Yeah. That's pretty cool. Hmm. So, uh, next thing I wanted to talk about was what I'm showing right now, which is the upload trailer.
Great show, by the way. I thoroughly enjoyed it.
Yeah, you finished watching all 10
Yep.
episodes? All right, yeah.
Mhm.
I watched all of them in a day because I enjoyed it that much. Um, I was surprised how much I enjoyed it. I was surprised how many actors I recognized that were in it.
Mhm.
I was like, oh, that's fun. Um, yeah, kind of crazy. Just I never thought of a concept like this for a show would be enjoyable, but I have enjoyed it. I always thought they would probably take this like really seriously. Like
Yeah. Well,
if they ever made a show, like there is some serious aspects to it, but it is very comedy heavy.
Mhm.
Because it's made by Greg Daniels, who also made The Office, and I think he made King of the Hill, or he worked on King of the Hill, something
I
like
think it
that.
was like The Office, Parks and Rec,
Yeah.
and a few other things.
Yeah, he's very heavy in the TV area. Yeah,
But
but it was a great show. I
it was
thoroughly
yeah.
enjoyed it.
I don't see this ever happening in the future, but
No, it'd be really hard to do this, I think. But I love
but
like all the like the company jokes
mhm.
where they like well they'll just mash two different company names together
Yeah.
and um or they'll like yeah like in this digital world where you die and your consciousness gets uploaded into different like company owned heavens with some I did air quotes even though you can't see it um because like they're basically programmed to do whatever you want or have whatever you want as long as you could pay for it, which is like comes back to like the capitalism monetization of like our technology right now, which is like any app you get, there's always some kind of in-app purchase
Yep.
that you need.
And
Um,
if you don't have the money to purchase said things, or
mm,
go to where the main character is in this show, you get dumped off at some low level heaven where it's like you get like point 0.9 gigs a month.
yeah, it's something silly like that where like you just don't you don't get to like do anything, and it's sort of like this limbo almost rather than it's like you're being kept alive just so your family can see you a couple times a month
Mhm.
at best.
It's kind of selfish if you think about it, but at
Hmm.
the same time, like, I understand what those
Yeah,
people are going through,
and there's a great
and
storyline with the the girl, the customer service angel, um, and her dad not wanting to be uploaded because I guess her mom didn't get that chance and like passed away before that was possible. So like her dad felt that if he was uploaded, it wouldn't truly be heaven because he wouldn't be with his wife. Which I was like, oh,
yep.
that's pretty nice and sentimental and kind of goes against the grain of like what the show is kind of trying to be about.
Mhm.
Yes, there's like a lot of like different aspects to the show, and I was surprised by that, and I liked that, and it made me enjoy it that much more. But yeah, that was a good watch. Um, kind of sad I blew through it all at once, but I thoroughly enjoyed it. Is there anything else you have like recently seen or want to talk about?
I mean, I've been. We'll save it for a different episode. I mean, I've
It's
just been
fine.
watching the few seasons of Gold Rush
Mhm.
on Hulu,
Okay.
which is really interesting.
Yeah. I don't
It's
think I've
kind
ever
of
seen
played
that.
out for the TV aspect of it.
Season 10. What? This show?
Yeah,
Wow. Okay.
it's a good show. It's just
Mhm.
this the middle guy in this right here, Parker.
Adam Driver?
He's nah, dude. Oh wait, no, I don't want to see this. I haven't seen this yet.
Oh, okay.
I haven't seen this
I
yet.
don't
I,
know.
I don't want. I don't want to know
I don't
Parker
know.
hit $10 million. I've
Uh,
only seen like
What
season
season
like
are you
2 or
on?
something. I think I'm only on like season 8 or something like that.
Oh, okay, okay,
But
okay. Do these people
no,
find gold?
yeah, it's like they're a they're a mining
Mhm.
company. They're sluicing, going through dirt and stuff.
So season 7, be safe.
And it's an interesting show because this kid
It's a
Parker, the
discovery. Okay.
one of the main people in the show,
Mhm.
he
Oh, so this is like a show.
yeah, it's
Okay,
real it's
okay.
it's real people, yeah.
Oh no. Oh, so
And
it is real people. Okay.
Yeah,
Some of the way
and
this is cut right now, I'm like, oh, this is just like a normal show,
and
like scripted.
the guy that you just saw in the green hat, he's like our age, like he's like 26 or something like that,
Damn. Mhm.
and he's like he's in charge of like this mining company that his grandfather left to him,
Mhm.
and he's doing all he can to try and make his footprint in the gold mining industry.
Yeah. That's amazing.
But yeah, if you have a chance, take a look at it.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. I'll have to try it out. I mean, you have good recommendations. You recommended Upload. You recommended Letterkenny to me. So.
Yeah, Letterkenny is hilarious.
Mhm. Yeah. Mm-mm-mm. Yeah, we got about 4 minutes left. A lot happening in the podcasting world this week.
Joe
Um,
Rogan signing $100 million contract with Spotify.
yeah. Although I don't know if it was actually that much because
I think I saw it being at 100 million,
okay, because
which is
I
insane.
watched his friend's podcast, The Fighter and the Kid with Brian Callen and Brendan Schwab.
Mhm.
Um, and they were talking about how like I don't know if exactly they worded it very specifically, but it made it sound like the number was wrong or they know the real number and that I think the 100 million was wrong. But well, in any case, it doesn't really matter that much. If it was 99 million or 100 million, like that's insane. But I'm happy for him, and I've used Spotify for a long time, like since 2011. So it'll be very cool to go into 2021 and seeing how he changes the game and for Spotify, and if Spotify can rise up as like the number one podcasting network and
I think
can
it's gonna
can
take
beat
over
out Apple.
iTunes.
Yeah. Well, there's this one guy I watch, Jimmy Dore, who does like a lot of political videos, but he did a video on this, and within the first 2 minutes, I had to stop watching because him and I think his wife, I'm not really clear about who she is, but they work together a lot. I'm pretty sure it's his wife. Um, like they didn't even know what Spotify was, and they were like probably in their late 50s, early 60s, and I get that, but even my parents know what Spotify is and they're
Mhm.
around the same age, and so I was like, okay, that's like I can't even listen if like they aren't fully aware of what even that program is, because I'm like, oh my god, like he's pretty old and he does a lot of old things, and it's it was hard to watch that one, so I had to walk away. But real quick, another podcasting news. Have you um listened to any podcasts on Barstool? Have
Yes.
you heard the news about what's happening over
Yes,
there?
call about Caller Daddy. Yep.
Yeah, I've never
I
listened to it,
watched
but I don't know if
I
you are.
watched the CEO Dave Portnoy talk about it, and
Mhm.
then I saw the main person from that show, Alexandra Cooper.
Yeah.
Uh, she she basically clarified everything, and everything that Dave said was right on the nose.
Wow.
So I think now Alexandra has full custody of that show.
Yeah, that's what I heard. And I think the other girl, Sophia.
She
Um,
played herself, dude. She
yeah, and
played
it's
herself.
it's so funny because my wife has been following that like since all the scandals started happening really, and she's been updating me slowly about it. I was like, oh, okay, okay, and she's like flip flopped both sides. She's like, oh yeah, I really like Alex, and I think she's right. Oh, I like Sophia. I think they're really worth more than what Barstool's giving them. And then she's like flip back to Alex and be like, no, like she works harder. She like deserves to like have full control and take this, $500,000 deal with Barstool for a year. And like, yeah, like they're the number one podcast over Joe Rogan, but I think not only are the fans different, I don't think there's much overlap, if anything.
Hmm.
Um, I think it's just could, I think it's just like a different vibe, and I think Joe Rogan has been doing podcasting for way, way longer. Like he's on episode 1500 for his, and he does it every day. Where their podcast is only weekly, and I think that his fans are probably a bit more loyal. So if throughout all of this, like if she could come back with podcast day one, by herself, and it could get half the amount of views that it normally would get because of this whole thing and like being gone for almost 2 months.
Mhm. I mean, we really don't know what's going on except for those people,
Mhm.
and they might stuff's really shaky for them, but at the same time, I feel like with the Barstool insignia being
Yeah.
around them, that
Mhm.
really helped propel
Oh
them
yeah,
into
that
that
absolutely
spot.
did. Mhm. Yeah, but it's interesting, and I guess Barstool's like having podcasting tryouts. I don't really
Maybe.
know what that means fully, but we should try out. See if they can get funding from them. Otherwise, we're going solo. We don't care.
We don't care.
Yeah.
We're lone wolves.
Mhm. Screw the big guy. We're gonna search for gold.
I got gold fever.
All right. Anything else you want to talk about, real quick,
Nope,
or
I
no?
think I'm all set.
Amazing. So, yeah, next week. I don't know. Let's decide right now what we're gonna talk about next week. Um, let's talk about stand-up specials that got us into enjoying stand-up specials, or our
Yes.
favorite stand-up specials or
Yes.
comedians. Let's do that. So that'll be a big the big topic for next week, along with
Mhm.
other small stuff. All right, man. Well, that's it.
We'll see
Thanks
you
for
all
listening,
next
everybody.
week.
Like and subscribe. What's
Two
the other
dudes,
one?
different states on
Oh yeah.
YouTube.
Yep, on YouTube. We'll figure out how to get us on Apple and Spotify very soon. All right.
Bye.